Cats fans, my name is Ben Reeve. Welcome to my channel, and this is your round 6 review of the Cats versus North Melbourne match. So it was the Cats got up by 60 points. It was 121 to 61. It was their 9th consecutive win against North Melbourne. So poor old Roos, they can't seem to get it done against the Catters. Haven't done for quite a few years now, at least anyway. And it puts the Cats at 4-2 to start the season. So that's not a bad effort. I think that's pretty much putting us where we were this time last year as well. I think even end of round 7 we might have been 4-3. So not necessarily a great start to the first part of last year. And hopefully we'll get over Freo next weekend and be 5-2. That'll be lovely. But yeah, that'll be a tough one for us, and we'll come to that a little bit later. So just to set the scene for the show today, I'm going to do a bit of an analysis of the game yesterday, and then I'm going to go through the tweets of the week, and I'm going to finish up by just having a bit of a look at the Freo game, and maybe players might come back in and what we can expect from Freo and things like that. So we'll get started. So the first topic of today, I want to talk a little bit about scoring. So similar to a few other weeks this year, we've been a little bit inaccurate in front of goal. Now, I guess it probably stood out a little bit yesterday because that's how we started the game. I think we finished the quarter 3 goals 7. So not great at all in front of goal. It was a bit frustrating actually, and missed a few shots that we should have easily have kicked. But probably for the rest of the game, it wasn't too bad. It was probably 50-50 in the end, if you have a look at it. I guess half-time we were still probably, I think 7-11 or something like that. But I think we'd pretty much just, kicking 50% at goal at that point in time. There's a few rush behinds and plenty of posters in there as well, which, a couple of centimetres either way would have changed things significantly. So, yeah, look, kicking hasn't been great for a few weeks now, and I think probably the other concerning part of it is that the opposition seems to... Roos didn't score a lot, but when they did, they were more accurate, and there seems to be a lot of our opposition teams this year are a lot more accurate as well. So whether that's something to do with our game style, allowing opposition teams to score through the middle corridor a lot more. Not sure what that's got to do with it, but it just seems to be a bit of a common theme that we get scored against pretty easily, or at least oppositions get good looks at the goals, I should say, when they do have their opportunities, and we have to work a lot harder for our goals, and it really relies on us kicking accurately, and if we don't, we struggle. Thankfully, we corrected things a little bit in those second, third and fourth quarters, especially the third, and we were able to run away with it. We can pretty much just ride off that fourth quarter. It was a bit of a non-event, really. I think the boys put the cue in the rack, and North just tried to get a little bit of pride out of the game, so good for them. But still on the scoring topic, though, it's good to see Hawkins kick his 4 goals. He's always bobbing up for 2, 3, 4 goals pretty much week after week. And Jezza, the ground record with 7 goals at Blundstone, crazy. Could have had about 9 as well. So he was insane, and clearly best on ground for the second time of the year actually. So 6 rounds in. So we didn't really have this bloke for the first part of last year, so we're 4-2. It'd be nice to be 5-1, but the fact that we've got Jezza up and going and coming second in the Coleman, and Hawkins coming first in the Coleman, it's pretty crazy, isn't it, to have the first and second? I can't remember another side having a 1 and 2. It's probably the Hawthorn, something like that from a few years back with Buddy and Roughhead, one of those two. I can't think of another team that might have had a 1-2 punch like that, but it probably won't be the case at the end of the year. I think Jez is probably going to overtake Tommy at some point. I got a feeling Tommy's going to get a rest at some stage, and probably if it's not a managed rest, it'll be a suspension of something. He's going to struggle to hold it in without this being able to give any dissent towards umpires anymore. He's probably just going to pop at some stage, but anyway. Yeah, so scoring, pretty good. Happy with those 2 boys being on top. Still want to see a little bit more from our mid-size and our small forwards. Hopefully, as time goes on and we make some more tweaks to our game style, we'll get some more of those goals. I'd like to see a bit more from Isaac Smith. He's getting a lot of it this year, but he's probably not getting as much He's having a few shots on goal, but they're just not going through as much. He was always a very reliable shot at goal in play, but not so much of a set shot, I don't think. But in play, he was always pretty reliable. But over his career, but I haven't really seen that as much from him this year. So maybe I'm looking into it, and I'm just basing it on recent last couple of weeks, but have noticed that a little bit. So I'll keep a bit of an eye on that one. Second topic for me this week on the game is just our youth. I'm really pleased to see that we're still giving guys opportunities, and those young fellas that are getting those games are really making the most of it. They're not sort of, they're probably going to come in and out a little bit, but they're giving themselves every chance to get picked week after week. So talking about Sam De Koning and Max Holmes, the two that really stand out, that really there's no reason to drop those two. Keep giving them games. Maybe Sam De Koning will need a rest at some point. I think Holmes probably played 22 games if he's fit enough to do so. But yeah, Sam De Koning, maybe give him a rest at some stage. He's still pretty young and developing, and he's going to get bashed around by a lot of these big forwards week in, week out. But really, really pleased with his growth. It was interesting to see Tom Stewart line up on the wing. But I was wondering what that was about, and I'm probably way off, but I was thinking, look, it's a good opportunity for Sam De Koning to take on a bit more responsibility. No Henry down there. Clearly no Henderson because he's gone. And just, Stewart not sort of being in that back line as much. He was there most of yesterday, but just for parts of the game, he just was in a different location on the ground. So it was nice to see Sam De Koning have a little bit more responsibility. He handled it pretty well. It was a good opportunity to give him that more responsibility in the game like North, without trying to be too disrespectful. I think, if the game was playing it a little bit differently, I think moves would have been made to put Stewart back there to settle things down a little bit. But it was a great opportunity for Sam De Koning just to sort of get a bit more exposure, a bit more heat, and he handled it really well. So had his best game. Almost every week we say Sam De Koning's had his best game. So he's accelerating at a rapid rate, that boy. I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I'm sure all the Cats fans are as well. So that's been really great. Really loving Holmes. He's just kind of that sort of under the radar a little bit. He doesn't, he gets his 15, 16 to 20 touches a game and just uses it really well, and just seems to be sort of a permanent fixture in that side now. And I'm seeing a lot more leadership from him, especially with a bit of a handoff to Dempsey for Dempsey's first goal. Good little segue to Dempsey as well. How good was it to see Ollie get his first game and his first goal on the weekend? It was great, wasn't it? And his mates came over to do the I Love Dempsey on the chest painting kind of stuff. There's a bit of talk about trying to get that going. A whole bay at Kidinia Park next weekend on Saturday afternoon. We'll get that going. I'm not sure what bay that's going to be in. We'll need someone to organise that, but I'll be there. Might not be. We're looking at, I don't know where I'll be. I haven't got tickets for it yet, but I'm definitely going to be there. So you probably don't want to see this rig with I Love Dempsey written all over it, but hopefully we'll get his mates there again, and it'll be a huge crowd, and he'll go nuts and kick 3 or 4. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Go on, Ollie. Go nuts. The boys, the young fellas doing really well. Really pleased. Can't wait to get Stevens an opportunity. I think there's one other as well. I'd love to see Frank the Tank, Francis Evans, get another opportunity again. I know he played the first round, and a bit of a shame he didn't get to hold his spot. I thought he actually would have got picked this week because he went pretty well in the VFL, but I guess they wanted to give Ollie Dempsey an opportunity. So we'll see. I think we'll see give Francis Evans a few more games in the VFL. Myers will probably be that one that he takes, I guess. Him and Myers and Dalhouse are sort of, I guess, vying for that spot. But, we'll see what happens as the year plays out. I'm sure there'll be some players rotating through in that role as the weeks go by. All right, so topic number 3, I've got, I want to talk about some fringe players, and I sort of mentioned that just a little bit before, but a couple of fringe players that I'm really pleased with at the moment. Stanley, I thought he had a fantastic game on the weekend. He seems to play well against more established ruckmen than he does against no-namers, but he was pretty average the week before, and this week comes up against Goldstein, who's getting on a bit, but Stanley was great. I think they had 37 hit-outs. It's not normally his strength. Took some great marks. I think it was one bad decision he made, but, that's all right. Everyone's going to make some mistakes through the game, but he did a lot of great things for us, and he straightened us up a lot. really pleased with Stanley's performance yesterday. I think across the board, I think a lot of Cats fans would probably feel the same. He cops a fair bit, but yeah, I think most of us can appreciate that it was one of his better games for us, and that's the standard that we want to see him play at. We don't expect him to be the world's best ruckman. We just want him to perform at a. I'd love him to be the world's best ruckman, but I don't expect it of him. But yeah, we just want him to perform to that level most weeks if he can. But yeah, his best and worst is a fair way off. So hopefully we get a similar version of Stanley next week. The other fringe player who's probably almost making a case to not be a fringe player anymore is Tom Atkins. I think I actually gave him a vote on the weekend. I thought he was really good. It was his effort, his multiple efforts, his just willingness to go at the ball. His skills aren't as great as some of the others, but I just love his heart. He's got this go about him. I'm really pleased with how he's going, and I think there's just a lot of comments on Twitter over the weekend about him as well. So really pleased with how Atkins is going. I guess probably the one fringe player that I know we give lots of opportunities to, or the coaches do at least, is Grind Myers. I don't want this to turn into a bagging session for Grind, but I think he's still got a long way to go to cement his spot in the side, and I really hope he does. I think with most games with Grind, he does some good things and he does some shocking things, and the mistakes really, really stand out, and they're really costly at times. It could have been very different for him yesterday, though. He had some shots on goal that could have easily have gone through, especially I think there's one in the first couple of minutes of the game where you'd expect him to kick that on his right. Just had to dribble it through from 35 out, but just couldn't do it. Maybe he'd kick that next time around and we'd be praising him for his 1 or 2 goals and 23 touches or something. So, but not to be. So I think he's going to be up against it throughout the year. I imagine he'll keep getting games because the coaches see something, and he's clearly got a big tank that can see him run out 4 quarters and be a bit more damaging in that 4th quarter when some of our other players might be dropping off a little bit. So I think that's probably in his favour. But I would love to see him getting that goal a game or near enough to a goal a game. I don't think we're seeing that at the moment from him. So those are my 3 fringe players. There's more than that, but those are the 3 I just wanted to highlight this week. Now, 4th main topic of the week is I was just thinking a little bit about our best team at the moment. It's pretty hard to judge things on yesterday's performance. It was just like, we got the 10-goal win. Anything less, you would have been disappointed. Anything more, probably not getting a really good read on how we're going. We're probably kidding ourselves a little bit. So we just got the job done. 60 points is about right. You're happy with that. So, but I think someone was saying that maybe we often look a little bit better when Dangerfield's not in the team, which is a funny thing to say, really. But I can't remember who said it, but it's a good point because I don't know what it is, and you see it with other teams as well. Like how was Freo going without Nat Fyfe at the moment? It just seems to be that other players will step up, or oppositions plan for the best players to not be there, and it changes the whole dynamic of the squad. So I'm not sure what it's about, but I thought Danger's been reasonable this year. He's had some average games. He started the year on fire, but interesting with him not being there. I think we're going to miss Henry. Hopefully it's not sounding great. Not that they've come out and said season over or back in surgery or anything like that. It just doesn't sound good with Henry at all. That injury that he got in the pre-season just come back again. Well, possibly. So, I can't imagine Geelong without Henry for most of the year. I already had concerns about the back line at the start of the year, and to have him not there, I think, I don't know. I don't think Zach Guthrie's up to it. He'll probably play 6 or 7 games in 2022. Guthrie will, but he's not a Jack Henry, that's for sure. So I don't know. Look, it's a bit of a concern. Gary Rowan still to come back, and Menengola is to come back as well. I think Menengola will be in our best team, and that's probably debatable. I don't think Gary Rowan will be the same player. He's another year older. He's missed half a season. Yeah, he's doing a pre-season now, but how long's it taken to get this new system going with these other boys to try and get Gary Rowan to fit in with that? Who knows how that's going to go? So we'll wait and see, hey. But yeah, I think I'd love to see Gary Rowan get another chance. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. And he just needs another injury. It's curtains for him, I think. Especially with the age profile of our group. I want to see him back. He's one of my favourite players, actually, but I just got a bad feeling he's probably not going to be able to get back in. Look, you guys might totally disagree with me on that, and that'll be. I hope I'm proven wrong on that, because I really like it when he's in the team and when the triple-headed monster's going well. It's great to watch, but it's not always the way it works out in life, unfortunately. And topic number 5 is I don't really have a subject heading for this. It was just some random thoughts, I suppose. Really liked the Clash jumper, the predominantly blue version of our jumper, which is essentially identical, it's an inverted sort of colours, really. I think it was a really basic design, the blue, predominantly blue with the blue shorts. I'm happy. I think either we go, if we've got the blue on, we wear that. If we've got the white shorts on, we wear our normal one. I don't know. I mean, I actually thought, as far as clash strips go, that's actually one of the better ones. So I was really happy with that choice. You don't have to jazz it up and putting pictures of pussycats on it and things like that. Just keep it nice and simple, and I think that's what we did, and it was quite fine. Probably didn't even need the clash strip against North, but if you're going to wear a clash strip, I think the one we chose was great. So really happy with that. Noticed a lot of headbands going around in the team too. We've got the old black headband and the white headband. It's about 7 of our players were rocking the headbands on the weekend. I don't know who else wears one. I think Henry wasn't there as well. He wears one normally, and who else wasn't playing that wears one? Goodness me. DeConning definitely not. Shaved head most of the time. But yeah, how many boys are wearing the headphones at the moment? And it's a good thing Ollie Dempsey and Sam DeConning are at opposite ends of the ground, because, and probably a good thing there's a foot difference in height, but geez, they look similar. If you're not used to if you're a casual observer of the game and you're not used to watching those two go about it, yeah, it's interesting. I'm not happy that, and I haven't been happy for a while, actually. I'm not happy that Tom Atkins shaved his mustache off. So I think, Tom, I'm sure you're not watching this, but if you are watching this, please grow it back, because I think us Cats fans, a bit like Closey with his long sleeves, we need you back in your mustache. We feel a lot more better, feel happier when you've got the mustache going, and please return it. That'll be lovely. We've got Tui in his mustache. Imagine if Tui shaved the Moroccan sunset off. We couldn't have that. So please grow it back. Do us all a favour, and never shave it off ever again. You look about 20 years old. It's ridiculous. So yeah, do us a favour, grow it back. And just lastly, I just thought I probably should point out, in case you weren't aware, about Ollie Dempsey's basketball background. So he does have a basketball background, and yes, this is breaking news on this channel. I think he was quite a promising young junior in the basketball world. So I think that'll probably be the last we hear about that. When his name's brought up, similar to Pendlebury. We heard it once when Pendles was in his first year, and we've never heard that since. So, basketball background for Ollie Dempsey. So my votes for the week, I've gone with Adkins for 1 vote, but grow the mustache back. That'll be really good. I've gone Zach Tui, the Moroccan Sunset, for the 2 votes for his 32 or 33 touches, something like that. He played really well. Didn't have much of an opposition, and Tui was probably going to get a lot of it, but good to see Tui get a stack of the ball and be quite influential through the game. And 3 votes, clearly it's got to go to Jezza for his 7 goals. You can't not give someone 3 votes for kicking 7 goals. Forwards don't get a lot of love in the Brownlow, do they? And neither the defenders, but a forward kicks a bag, you've got to give them something. So 7 goals doesn't happen very often. You break a ground record. That was a pretty straightforward one. All right, so let's get on to tweet of the week. Hey, so I've got a few family members to help me with the tweets of the week this week. So to my right, there's Bonnie waving. That's James next to me, and that's Bonnie. Wave again, Bonnie. Very good. So James and Bonnie will probably take turns a little bit. We're going to read out the tweets. So James, what's our first tweet of this week?
Our next tweet is from Mick, and Mick says, "Keep Dempsey in. If Myers wants to kick the ball along the ground, he can play soccer."
Yeah, thanks Mick for that one. Brian, his disposal can be a bit off at times. He can hit a target at times, but goodness me, he turns it over a fair bit. So I kind of agree. I don't think he's going to play soccer at this stage of his career, but unless he's actually making up ground and he's being a bit creative, I think maybe just do a little bit better at working on your kick and their grind. Thanks, James. Who's our next tweet from, James?
Our next tweet is from Michael, and he says, really looking forward to 5 years' time when DeConning, Dempsey, Holmes, Stevens and co are approaching 100 games, and Hawkins is about to kick goal 950 and Selwood captain game 4,000.
Yeah, I think thanks, Michael, and thanks, James. I think 5 years' time is a long time away, and it'll be interesting to see what the squad does look like. We'll probably have 20% of our team currently still running around at that point, and it'll be those core boys doing all the work. I don't think Hawkins will be around in 5 years' time. Then again, I don't think we thought Buddy Franklin would still be going around in 2022. So who knows? And yeah, Selwood captaining still, game 4,000. Maybe you mean 400. Not sure if that's going to happen, Michael. I think this might have, a lot of us are saying the Selwood's probably last year, this year, so we'll wait and see on that one. But hopefully he goes around again. I'd actually like to see Selwood probably hand over the captaincy this year and maybe give it to Stewart and then just try and do a bit of a transitioning for this year around. So thanks, Michael. Now we might get Bonnie to read the next one out. But do you want to come a little bit closer, Bonnie, to the microphone? Thank you, Bonnie. All right, who's our next tweet from, Bonnie?
Our next tweet is from Carla, and she says that Clash jumper
is fire. Yeah.
Fire.
Did you guys see? Did you guys notice the different Geelong jumper? It was a little bit more blue than last time around. I think Carla and a lot of other Cat supporters thought it was really good. We were quite impressed with it. So hopefully we'll see that jumper go around again. In addition to the Indigenous top that goes around 2 or 3 times a year as well. So I haven't seen the design for that one yet this year, but I'm keen to see what that looks like. I can't remember what the game was, the Indigenous game. Anyway, all right. So James, who's our next tweet from?
Joey M. And Joey M says, solid but a little wasteful against a pesky weak opponent. For our rise, Reese, that's the benchmark he needs to set himself each and every week.
Thanks, James. Yeah, and thanks, Joey. Look, Reese did play well, and you're right. We'd like to see Reese perform that way week in, week out. I think he's capable of it, capable of a good stretch of runs. Look, every player has a bad week here or there. Reese's bad weeks are probably a bit more pronounced than others. Unfortunately, we'd like to see him be a bit more consistent. But, that's what Reese is capable of, so hopefully we'll see a lot more of that next week. All right, Bonnie, thanks, Joey. We're going to get Bonnie to read the next one out again.
Our next tweet is from Just Jan 2, and he says, I asked during the week for a 60-point win. They've delivered, can't ask for anything more than that. Our kids are sliding in seamlessly too. Well done, Max, Sam, and now Ollie. Thanks,
Bonnie, and I think Just Jan could be a female, I think, Bimmy Jartel. Anyway, maybe we don't have to, yeah. Anyway, thanks, Bonnie. So, Jan did really well with picking the 60-point win. I hope you put some money on that one. I'm guessing you probably didn't, but you could have cleaned up there. The kids are playing really well. They're doing fantastic. I think the argument that we don't play kids is a bit redundant now. We've got a very old squad, especially at that other end, the older end, but we are playing a few more kids now. And I think we'll probably start to see is throughout the course of the year, a lot more younger guys getting opportunities. I'm not sure how many young guys will blood this year, but it'd be nice to see Max and Sam at least. And Ollie probably won't play 15 games, but you'd hope to see Max and Sam DeConning play the fair chunk of the season, the majority of the season. Thanks, Bonnie. Well done. Now, James got the next one. Who's the next tweet from, James?
Trent. And Trent says, I like this new Geelong strategy of touching the football in the first 5 minutes of the game.
So thanks, Trent. So I think what Trent's talking about is last time we played last week against Hawthorn, they kicked 3 goals before we even touched the ball. So we're pretty bad last time around. So hopefully we play a lot better in the first quarters of games moving forward. I think we were okay. We weren't very accurate this time around against North in the first quarter, but we had 10 scoring shots on goal, so you got to be happy with that. So, all right. Next tweet, Bonnie, if you want to read this one.
Our next tweet is from Kobe, and he says, "Does anyone else think we look better with Danger out of the team, or am I the only one who thinks that? Only my opinion. Good win first game by Dempsey. Go Cats.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, and I think I referenced this comment earlier, I think with Danger being out of the squad, and it was probably Kobe that sort of put the thought in my head. Yeah, Kobe, I think, look, I think Danger's a great player, and any team would love to have him. It's just interesting to see how we play without him, though. I don't know. We went okay last year without him being missing for a few chunks. I think we were 4-3. You'd think it would have been a lot worse without him and Jezza. But it's really impressed with the young fellas like Holmes standing up and Adkins having a really good, probably one of his better years as well. So if we can get a lot of improvement from those other younger guys and they stand up week in, week out, I think we'll go okay. Thanks, Kobe. Now James has got the next one.
The next tweet is from Happy Chappy 2, and Happy Chappy 2 says that when Reese is up against a recognised ruckman, he plays and competes. Struggles against no names, which is frustrating. Reminds me of watching the clubs in the 80s win the ones that they shouldn't and lose the ones that they are expected to win.
Yeah, thanks, James, and thanks, Happy Chappy. It can be really frustrating when you expect, like definitely last week when Ned Reeves went down in the Hawthorn game, when Reese probably didn't put in his best effort, and thankfully Blitzar's played okay, but yeah, it's a bit frustrating. We often, I do remember the 80s. I was a young fella then, probably about 9 or 10 through that era, but I do remember losing a lot of games we should have won, and then just surprising with what games we weren't expected to win as well. Hopefully we can be a bit more consistent this year and get a lot more from our players. But it's a tough game. You're going to drop the odd one, and probably the only team that doesn't look like they're ever going to lose is Melbourne at the moment. I think everyone else is dropping games they should win and surprising every other week as well by winning the odd one. Now who's next? Is Bonnie's turn, I think. All right, go for it, Bonnie.
Our next one is from Smithers, and he says, did what they had to do. It was great to see Cameron and Hawkins dominate down forward. I love seeing the kids doing super nice things. Super impressed with Dempsey and SDK's
That's Sam DeConning. Yep.
We must keep playing them.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, Smithers. I'd like to see Dempsey and Sam DeConning keep getting games. Definitely Sam DeConning. I think he needs a lot more development. I think Dempsey's pretty new to the game as well. Will take a little while. Dempsey's a bit of a prospect, but I really like what I saw the other day. And Sam DeConning, I think we're going to see him become an absolute star of the game. And hopefully they do get a lot of games this year. Great to see our big two Coleman medal chances do really well and dominate up forward. I don't think we're going to see it every week, but to get 11 goals, was it 11? Yeah, 11 goals out of those two. Fantastic. Just be nice to get a little bit more from some of our smalls and mids. I can't remember who. I think Stengel might have got a couple. So he was okay, I suppose. But love to see a third fella pop up now and then. But it's good to get a spread of goals from across the team as well. So thank you, Smithers. And what's the next one, James?
Our next tweet is from Matthew Beggs, and Matthew Beggs says that we'll take that. Also trying to think when the last time two players from the same club were 1-2 in the Coleman. Some point in 2008 with Franklin and Rough Head, maybe? Better minds than me will know. Yeah,
thanks, Matthew. That's a good tweet. Yeah, and again, I think I mentioned this before, just with the two players in the Coleman race. I can't recall when another club was doing so well. I mean, there's been clubs that have had two big forwards in the top 5 in the Coleman, but to be 1 and 2 after 6 rounds of footy, it's pretty crazy to see that. I don't think we're going to see that very often again. So thanks, Matthew, for that one. Bonnie, who's our next tweet from?
Our next tweet is from Andos, and they say, is Luke Cabs the most underrated player going around? Played multiple positions his whole career and just keeps delivering, just gives everything week in, week out.
He does, doesn't he, Bonnie? Blitzarves, he's one of those players that, I mean, he's probably not underrated in that no one knows who he is, or he's won 2 Cardiff Greggs medals, best and fairest at Geelong, but he's a great player, and I just think he just does so much for us, and I don't think we appreciate, it's probably the better word, that what he does and how versatile he can be. I mean, 1 minute he's full back, and the next minute he's in the ruck, the next minute he's on the wing, and then you often will see him bobbing up for kicking a goal, a really key goal up forward. So he just does it all, and he just runs and runs and runs, and when he's not getting it, he's negating an opposition player. So I hope in the later part of his career, I mean, he's probably in the tail end of his career now, that hopefully we show a lot more appreciation, because he won't be around forever, and it'll be interesting to see how we go without him being in our team. Thanks, Andos, and thanks, Bonnie. You had some big words in that one, Bonnie, so good one there. James, who's our next one from?
Our next tweet is from Daniel O'Brien, and Daniel O'Brien said that no Sean Darcy next week either due to concussion protocol in what looks like a big one at home.
So Sean Darcy's the big ruckman from Fremantle, and we're playing them at Geelong on Saturday afternoon. So he's really good, and there was a bit of talk that we'd get Sean Darcy down to Geelong a year or two ago, but it wasn't to be, and he committed to the Freo Dockers, but good for him. So it'll be a good test for our ruckman. I'm thinking that Darcy, with Darcy not being there, that it might be an opportunity to rest Stanley. I'm really impressed with Stanley. I definitely wouldn't be dropping him at all, but I think it's an opportunity to give Radigalea a chance. I don't think that's the way they're going to go, but if they're going to stick to their word and rest a manager player week in, week out, then I think it's probably Stanley would be one of the names that would be coming up for me. I'm just trying to think who else there might be. I'm sure Hawkins will get a rest at some point as well. He did run about 15 Ks on the weekend. He was all over the park, so he had a fair run. So thanks, Daniel O'Brien. Hopefully our ruckmen do reasonably well, whoever they may be. Now Bonnie's got the next one, I think, unless there's one more. 2 to go, I think.
This next one is from Mitch Williams, and he says Jeremy Cameron is fun to watch.
He is, isn't he? Especially when he kicks 7 goals. He's awesome. I don't think we'll get Jeremy Cameron kicking 7 goals every single week, but when he does, it's great to see him just go nuts. And it's amazing. I think we were surprised how fast he was. I think there was a contest that he had to sprint about 50 metres, and I think there's another situation where him and Hawkins were trying to give the 1-2 to each other, and Hawkins was like, "Mate, I can't keep up with you. I'm not. My body type isn't built for this type of running." But Cameron, when he gets a bit of space, he's great to watch. He's got a lethal left foot as well. Just doesn't seem to miss. Thank you, Bonnie. And thanks, Mitch. And our last tweet, James, is from
LJ, and LJ said, "Loved Atkins at ground level and amazing composure today."
Yeah, I loved what we saw from Atkins. We called him Adkins, because it just rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Loved Adkins. My older brother used to call him Adkins anyway. But we loved his effort, and he just does all the little things. He's not an elite AFL player. Let's not kid ourselves, but I really, really appreciated all the hard work he did the other day, all the little things you don't get a lot of credit for. And as I said earlier, he does look a lot better with the moustache. So grow the moustache back, please, Atkins. That'd be great. So thanks to all our tweeters. I think we got through about 17, so there's quite a fair bit there. Actually, was there any more? Let me just double check. I haven't missed anyone.
Yeah, there's like 3.
Hang on, let me just double check. I don't think we've missed anyone, but I think we might have covered these ones off. Hang on, Bonnie. There's a couple more. Let's go with this one.
Next one is from Tom, and he says Tom Atkins not seeing while holding the camera for the team song, either can't multitask or doesn't rate his singing ability.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a Tom. You let yourself down a little bit there. You have to sing when we're doing the club song. So I know you're holding the camera and it's a big job, but yeah, we expect a little bit more out of you, Tom. So you let yourself down a little bit there, and we'd hope next time around you do a lot better. So yeah, improve in that area. Thanks, Tom. James, last. Yes, another one. Go for it, James.
Our next tweet is from Just Yvonne.
Very good.
And Just Yvonne said, Dempsey's mates need a box seat at every game. No ifs or buts about it.
So what Thank you, James. And what Yvonne's talking about there is the new Ollie Dempsey fella who played his first game for us. He's a young fella, and he had all his friends from school or from his footy club fly all the way over to Tasmania, and they wrote "I love Ollie Dempsey" on their chest. It was quite funny, and so there was some photos of him after the game. That was quite good. So hopefully we get them along to every game. I don't know about a box seat. Get them in the outer. I don't know whether you have an outer anymore because they knocked the stadium down. The Gary able to tear us down, but hopefully we'll get those boys to the game, and we'll get a whole bay of I love Ollie Dempsey. I love Dempsey sort of fans getting around him. All right. Last tweet is from sorry, Bonnie, it's your last one.
Yeah.
Read it out for us, nice and loud for us.
Last one is from ZT, and he says, "Mission accomplished. Hopefully a reset of sorts, some good signs, and a great first up effort from Dempsey. We'll need to be at our very best against Fremantle."
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie, and thanks ZT for the final tweet of the day. It was mission accomplished. It was just get the business done against North. Feel a bit bad smashing them in the way we did, but anything less than 10 goals probably would have been a bit of a failure against the bottom-ranked team in the AFL, and really good first effort up there from Dempsey. We hope to see him a lot more this year, or at least a good taste of AFL. And it's going to be a great game next week against Freo. Hopefully I actually hope it rains and pours, because, I don't want Freo to come here and get nice, beautiful conditions. I think I want to make it as miserable for them as possible. Hopefully we do the Dockers by 50 or so. That'd be great. So a big thank you to James and to Bonnie for your wonderful efforts reading out the tweets. It was a magnificent job, and we'll try to get you back on the show in a week or two. What do you reckon? Yeah? All right, thanks everyone. All right, so that's the tweets of the week all done. So just having a bit of a look ahead to the Freo game, and as we said during the tweets, no Sean Darcy, so that's going to really help us a lot. But Freo's a great team. They're 5-1 at the moment. They don't go so well travelling, but 6 rounds in, I don't know if you can really score them or us, to be fair, this early in the season. I think you need another 4 games under your belt to really know if they're the real deal in 2022. But they haven't done anything wrong yet. So, but it's going to be a good game. Hopefully we get a big crowd down there. I'd love to see Ollie Dempsey get another game in front of his home crowd. I think we'll all get around him in a really big way. I'm looking forward to that. I'm just curious as to who we might manage for this game. I do believe the coaches now that they are managing players week in, week out, and probably managing some of the older ones that are not showing a bit of form either. But hopefully we give someone a bit of a rest, and hopefully we can get Danger back. That'll be great. Even though I'm not as concerned when Danger doesn't play so much. But I think if we can get Danger fit, if he needs another week, I think we just give him another week off. And I always get nervous when our better players don't play. But we've shown against Brisbane without Selwood and Stewart, who was a late withdrawal, that we did enough to beat them. So hopefully, if we're a good enough team, we'll be able to cover the losses of some good players. We really need 26 or 27 players that are demanding a spot every week. I don't think we've got that at the moment. I think we've probably got 18 to 19 players that you'd want to pick week in, week out. Melbourne's probably the only team that I'd say you've got a surplus of talent that they really just put in there. You could pick anyone out of 26 players there. I think Geelong's probably not that at that point, and there's probably not that many teams apart from Melbourne that are at that level. Hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we can get at least 20 to 21 players that pick themselves each week. But we'll see how we go with that. So we'll see how it happens. So that's the show. Just point out that we've got a great new show on a Wednesday night on the Hoops channel called Draft Wars. So if you haven't checked that out, if you've skipped that last time around, it's still on the channel, so check that one out. It's a show where we get the boys from the Chaps Chat Cats channel. They've got a Twitter account as well. What they do is they do a bit of a random sort of selection of players. I think about 4 players. What they do is they pick these 4 players, and then we look at the Supercoach scores or the Dream Team scores for the week, and then we determine who's the winner of that. So check it out. The last show was on Wednesday night. We've got another show coming up this Wednesday night as well. So we had to sort of share the results of the first week, how that went. I think I was thinking team Team Sambo was going to win that one, but I'm not sure how he went in the end. I think he was struggling to start off the round, so I'm not sure how it finished off, but I'm interested to see how that goes. And if you've made it this far into the show, really appreciate it. I'm sure you're a true fan of the show if you have. I know it's a bit of a longer one this time around, so if you haven't already, I'm assuming you have if you've watched this far, but if you haven't already, please subscribe. And like and comment and all that fun stuff. Really appreciate your support. I think we're up to 221 subscribers at the moment, so doing okay. And again, want to get to that 500 mark, and then we've got some more things planned when we get to that. So spread the good word, and I'll see you on. Well, I won't see you on Wednesday night. The boys from the Chat Cats will, but I'll see you next Monday night, 8:30. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Go Cats.